Hello and welcome to Freedom Through Astrology, where we're giving you the keys. And as you can see, still no camera. So I'm just going to minimize that and tuck it off in the corner. This is freedomthroughastrology.com. I'm your astrologer. My name is Donald Patak. Here's my contact information, standard YouTube copyright. And I do read astrology a little bit differently. I read what's called constellation-based astrology. Sometimes it's called true sidereal astrology. It's astrology by the visible sky, which is how I believe the ancients read astrology. Tropical astrology fixed the signs to seasons, and the sky hasn't looked like that in a long time. So I do read. You'll hear me saying things in the planets being in different signs. It's because that's where an astronomer would say it. Astrologers and astronomers used to be the same person. Oh well. Things changed and not for the better, in my opinion, but nonetheless. And when you're reading astrology by the visible sky, you wind up having 13 signs instead of 12, because between Scorpio and Sagittarius is the foot of Ophiuchus, or at least his ankle, I think. But in any event, the fucus is the symbol of a man holding a snake or a person holding a snake by the head and the tail. Snakes in ancient times symbolize knowledge. So holding a snake by the head and tail in the story of the fucus is gaining the knowledge of healing. So it's where Ophiuchus was wounded, so he learned how to heal himself. And then ideally you're healing others with similar wounds. So it's a symbol of the wounded healer. I do use the natural size of the constellations. You're going to hear people talking about the sun going into Scorpio. It's just finishing up Libra this week. Not Libra, just finishing up Virgo this week. I'm sorry, and getting ready to enter Libra. Virgo is a huge constellation at just under 50 degrees. Scorpio barely hits 25. The Mother Nature, in her wisdom, made all the constellations different sizes. I respect that. And I use astrological midpoints because the IAU boundaries are arbitrarily drawn. If you zoom in on those boundaries, Athan Chimenti noted this in a class I took with him. On the Scorpio Ophiuchus border, the stars from Scorpio are over in the side of Ophiuchus. They should be over by Scorpio. So using the zodiac belt, last bright star of constellation A, first bright star of constellation B, what's the midpoint? I think it works better and is more accurate. Keys to the reading part 2, because like I say, I do read differently. I read what's called evolutionary astrology. The planets, constellations, even the houses are offering you lessons to learn. This means you have freedom of choice. These are opportunities to learn. Are you going to take them or are you going to do something else? And it recognizes your freedom of choice. So you can pick the high road or the low road. And this is the weekly edition. So these are the universal lessons that all your our travelers are facing. So it's transiting to transiting only. So do have some compassion on your fellow ground pounders. Dates are based on the Eastern U.S. time zone, as I do live outside of Buffalo, New York, and I'm operating within 1 degree of being exact. This is when the energies are most intense. What's up, Kit? Are you okay? There we go. So this is when the energy is going to be most intense and most likely to be felt or experienced. Excuse me. And the software that I use is Capricorn by Prometheus. So this is just an overview here. This is the week of November 3rd through November 9th, 2025. The sun does begin the week in Virgo and quickly will translate into Libra. So we will be in Libra season very soon. The moon begins in Pisces and will transit through to Gemini. So it's actually a relatively stable week as it's going into Pisces, into Aries, a long stretch in Taurus, and then into Gemini. So it's a relatively stable week, all things being equal. We will have a full moon in Aries on the 5th. This will be interesting because we'll have the sun in Libra and the moon in Aries. And that'll be happening just before 10:30 in the morning Eastern time. And in addition to the sun changing signs, we also have Mars entering its home sign of Scorpio. So get ready for some real intensity there. Our active inner planets for the week are Mars and the sun. I'm placing Mars first because there's a little bit more work that it's doing. And then on the outer planets, we do have Jupiter a little and Uranus still carrying that long transit. And retrograde, we add a new one this week. We get ready for a time of Mercury retrograde. Retrograde means reflection. This is times of reflecting on what you're doing and learning, and also a time of internal work. So retrograde, we have Mercury end of this week, and then we still have Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Chiron all retrograde. Yay. It's Monday. I'm tired. I'm sorry. I really want to get these done earlier, but still getting used to that school schedule. So get my doodle tool. And let's start with the moon. We can see the moon here. We'll start with the moon. And as you can see, we start in Pisces. Later on in the day on Tuesday, we go into Aries. Right before midnight on Wednesday, we enter Taurus. And it's Taurus through to Saturday morning, I believe, when it goes into Gemini. So it's relatively stable lunar-wise. Wednesday morning, we do have that full moon in Aries. So we're Eastern time zone, when the sun is setting, that's when we'll be seeing that beautiful moon. Otherwise, on Tuesday, we do have the sun entering Libra. And Thursday, we do have the moon entering Scorpio. And Saturday, I really should have shrunk that down some more. Oh well. Saturday, we do have Mercury going station retrograde. And what that means is it's pausing in the sky. If you were to map Mercury's location, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, it would look like it's stuck in where it is and not moving at all. Mercury usually burns through a lot in the sky. Okay, now let's take a look at, let me change the color here. And here, everything above this dotted line is last week. So you can see we do have some transits ending. Jupiter right there, pretty active there. And we still have that incredibly long Uranus Neptune transit. And we begin the week, we do have that Mars, and then Mars just continues in the beginning of the week. So your Mars developing courage and assertiveness will be strong in the beginning of the week. Towards the middle of the week, you'll be dealing with the sun and the nodes of the moon. I forgot to put that in there. The nodes are being aspected. The nodes of the moon are your destiny, your past and your future. What are you moving towards and how are you going to get there in the past? How do you hold yourself back? So expect that. And then over the weekend, we do have a little Venus. I should have put Venus in the list. I don't know if I did. Venus and a little Mercury. And Pluto. Yeah, Pluto's calming down. Pluto's been very busy as of late. So he does get, actually, he's got two of them here. I'm sorry. Pluto is still being aspected, but, hey, that's all good. Okay, let's clear. So that's kind of an overview. And if you're looking at the energy, you can see it starts slow, and then it really picks up. Wednesday night is when it really starts picking up in its intensity. Actually, no, Wednesday morning. I'm sorry, Wednesday morning and the intensity. And plus you have that full moon right about here-ish. So really Wednesday is when the energy really starts picking up. So you get a breather Monday and Tuesday sort of-ish. Okay, let me clear this out. And here we go. Again, this incredibly long transit. Uranus, both retrograde, Uranus and Taurus, sextiling Neptune and Pisces. So this is your individuality creating an interest in your spirituality. I think that's a simple way of saying it. And you finding the peace within that. And Neptune and Pisces, don't just do something, be there. Can you be who you are in the moment and find inspiration in that? And the sextile is that time of excitement. The shadow here, Uranus, is you're being someone that you're not. You're either acting out and to get a reaction, or you're selling out trying to fit in. And the interest or the crisis that gets created here, really, the nervous energy, is you're just trying to escape and numb the pain and anyway get out of it. And in being someone who you're not, you can feel isolated and alone and just not wanting to be around people. And I do have it's this exact in double X because we do have retrogrades that happen during this transit. I do believe we will get some station directs in this. And back on Wednesday on October, last week, Jupiter and Gemini trining Saturn retrograde. So this is going to go through to December. This is another nice long transit. Jupiter is opportunity. This is opportunity to learn. Saturn in Pisces is maturing and being present. Is also maturing in your spirituality. So taking the opportunity to learn and that supporting your ability to mature and grow in your spiritual practices. And again, I have that with the X there because we're going to have, I believe Jupiter goes retrograde next week. I misread that from on my chart. I was looking at a monthly and I screwed up the dates. Happens, you know. But this is a trine, and this is the beauty here is the Jupiter and Saturn when they're working together, great things can happen because it's opportunity combining with action. Jupiter points out the opportunity, and Saturn says, "Let's do something with it." So that's awesome there. And this can help you become a higher, better and higher version of yourself. The shadow here is a crisis of confidence, thinking that you either know it all or can't know it all. And that leads to bitterness, cynicism, and you desire just to be, just to get away, be alone, be left alone, hide away, etc. Scattered focus leading to the desire to escape. Or fueling feelings of fear and despair. Saturn's fears are, not as bad as Pluto. Pluto gets really dark, but Saturn still gets down there. And it can create a desire for you to be feeling isolated and alone and wanting to hide away. And from the 15th, we're finishing this up this week. Jupiter squaring Chiron, so the opportunity to learn how is that strengthening. Squares are opportunities to strengthen. It's a challenge that strengthens you, like picking up more weight so you become stronger. Jupiter, opportunity to learn, strengthening your ability to heal. And this is internal healing. Are you using what you're learning to heal yourself? Yeah. And the shadow here is that, again, that crisis in confidence, either over or under, becomes a crushing burden that leads to greater wounding. First to yourself, you can also hurt others. And that can create confusion, a desire to escape, or a loss of yourself on a deep level. That's another thing that came to me when I was doodling out my notes. And from Saturday, November 1st, the moon enters Pisces, seeking inspiration and just learning to be present and being in that moment. Yeah. Finding it, yeah, and opening up to spiritual growth in a deeper inner life as well. So there's the high road, and the low road here is slipping into a fantasy and trying to escape into a meaningless and empty life. So emotionally, you're falling into fantasy land. Kind of feel like I've been living there. Okay, also from Saturday, we have Venus in Virgo squaring Jupiter in Gemini. This is the ending of a T-square. This was really intense here. I was going to blog on this, but I just got so wiped out that I couldn't. But Venus in Virgo, improving your relationship skills. How is that strengthening your ability to learn? Yeah. Quite literally. And how is working with others helping you to learn? And what is it helping you to learn? And communication as well, and a desire to improve can strengthen your ability, your curiosity. The shadow here is getting caught up in unrealistic expectations of relationships. Venus is also creativity and rest. So getting, just not taking the time to rest or just not being creative at all. Um, and the square, instead of being a stepping stone, becomes a stumbling block or this crushing burden. And that can create a crisis in confidence. Either you're too confident and you make a big mess, or you don't feel confident enough. You stumble and fall and whatever. And your attention becomes scattered. You lose your focus, and God knows what else you lose in relationships or whatever. And this week we also have Mars in Libra trining Neptune retrograde in Pisces. So Mars is having courage. And in what do I have here? And the courage to deal with paradox and uncertainty. And how is just dealing, that ability to deal with the unknown, helping to support your spiritual growth and your ability to be present. Sometimes I have this joke about going to the DMV. Hurry up and wait. Hurry up and wait. So that's kind of what like this is. Mars wants to take action, but it's dealing with this paradox. So it's got to deal with this paradox. But how is dealing with that helping strengthen your spirituality, helping you keep you present in this moment? And the shadow here slipping into fear and leading to indecisiveness. And fear can be either anger or cowardice. And you be afraid of making the wrong decision and being angry about it, or just somebody tell me what to do and deal with it. That can have you slipping into a fearful fantasy, desire to escape, and again, a meaningless and empty life. Neptune in Pisces can lead to deep meaninglessness in your life. And Monday, we start the new week. Yes, a lot of Mars energy. And again, Mars will actually end. This will be its last transit, the second to last transit in Libra before it moves into Scorpio. So Mars in Libra opposite Uranus in Taurus. And an opposition is a time of reflection and it's balancing. So how does that courage to deal with uncertainty reflect on that or balance that with, the work you're doing on being the authentic self? You might not be exactly sure of, okay, when I was fishing around with this and I was thinking, okay, well, Uranus is about learning to be your authentic self and finding the peace and strength in that. So the courage that you're having here is that you're getting new information, new ideas, and what is true to you, what is not, and how do you handle that? So that courage in dealing with uncertainty, who am I really? And that question and being able to answer it, because it can get up in the air once in a while. So have that dealing with uncertainty. How can you help that? Use that to find peace and strengthen your individuality, and look at it as also a time to balance assertiveness and authenticity. How are you being? Mars is courage, but it's also assertiveness. And how are you? Assertiveness. How is that helping to helping you become more authentic? I'm sorry, I'm kind of struggling here. This is daylight savings time, and I just do not get along. I still don't understand the purpose of it. I'm still when I drive to work, I'm still driving into the sun, and it's more blinding now than it was before. Yeah, never mind. Off my rant. The shadow here is slipping into fear and indecision, and then becoming someone that you are not. The shadow of Uranus is being fake, whether you're doing something to get a reaction out of people or you're selling out and trying to fit in. It's just being fake, and living in fear can lead to a loss of individuality. I'm just going to leave it at that. On Tuesday, this is the actual order. First of all, the moon enters Aries, emotional courage. On my website, I got these two flipped for some reason. The moon entering Aries is looking for emotional courage, time to face the fears that come your way. And expecting challenges and competition. Learn to face them with inner strength. Stuff is going to come your way. Stand up and deal with it. The shadow here is falling into fear, and it can lead to angry outbursts or cowardice and trying to hide away. Both can be emotionally overwhelming and draining. And secondly, we have the sun entering Libra. So this is your core identity in Libra. Weighing things out. This is the time for you to test to see who you are and finding peace with that. And this is peace with uncertainty. I think that's the best way to describe it. Look at your values and evaluate them. How can you update them? And also look at where you can find moments of peace and make moments of peace in your life and take those moments as well. Open up to paradox as you evaluate your life and gain new and different perspectives on your sun, core identity. Who are you? Look at your natal sun, because that's the great lesson that you came here to learn. And now in Libra, you're evaluating that. Am I finding those lessons? Am I becoming that person? What do I need to know? Kind of interesting that way. The shadow here is indecision and accumulating stress through insincerity or being lazy and obsessed with comfort or pleasure. Also giving away your identity and becoming codependent on others. All these things lead to instability in life. And you make a big mess fast. Wednesday, Mars starts in Libra and then we'll move into Scorpio, sextiling Pluto in Capricorn. So that courage to deal with indecision and then the courage to go deep creates an interest in doing the deep work of transformation. And it's also the courage to face the deeper self and do that deeper work. And also to face the unconscious fears and what's in there. So starting with indecision and insecurity, and then stepping boldly in courage and deciding, I'm going to go deep and do this. Mars is the natural ruler of Scorpio, so that's going to get a very intense here. Pluto is also the ruler of Scorpio. So that's really feeding a lot of this deep energy and this transformational energy. This can be a very intense few days just because of that. So do tread carefully. The shadow here, be careful of falling into fear and cynicism. It will lead to deep darkness, isolation, and loneliness. And playing the victim or living out your fears can feel empty and deeply wounding. There we go. And Wednesday, we also have the full moon in Aries. This is interesting because we will not have a new moon in Libra. We only will have the full moon. That's because of how big Virgo gets. Virgo, when it gets too, depending on where and how the moons fall, Virgo, if it gets two moons, will skip completely over the Libra new moon. So looking at your identity and balancing again, this, what do I have here in my notes? Let me look at this. Here we go. Yeah, balance the needs of your core identity with the emotional needs of the soul. The core identity is dealing with uncertainty, needs to take a break, but also that you have the soul, that your emotional self that wants to get up and do something. So it's knowing when to balance taking action and taking a break. So reflect how it takes courage to face uncertainty as well and balance the needs of that identity. So there's that. But the shadow here is falling into fear, can pull you out of balance and lead to egotistical emotional outbursts, power struggles, you being uncertain as to who you really are in a way. And just your whole life can feel really out of balance, especially if you start living out of fear. And we also have the sun in Leo. On Wednesday is going to be a really intense day. It's the intense day of the week. It's like a quick crescendo, and then it just keeps rolling. Wednesday and Thursday we'll be dealing with this here because it is the sun aspecting the nodes. We're going to first deal with the North Node. So let me, no, I don't want the, do I have a highlighter on this thing? I thought I did. Oh, wait a minute, that's right. Highlighter. There we go. Actually, I'll do yellow. Didn't show up the way I wanted it to. Great, now it's orange. Whoops. Fine, deal with it. So that's the part we're dealing with, Sun in Libra, that dealing with looking at your self-image and weighing that out. How is that helping you and supporting your authentic journey? North Node is your destiny and purpose in life. So do understand where it is in your natal chart, and then with it being in Aquarius, how are you making that journey more authentic to you? So as you're facing these questions about who you are and learning to take that pause and break, how is that supporting your authenticity and you fulfilling your life's purpose and your life's destiny? So being able to also see yourself from different perspectives. Yeah, the shadow here is falling into that false pride, and being insincere or unwilling to accept conflict can lead you becoming someone that you're not and pull you away from your destiny. You can be the North Node is when the North Node's in its shadow, you're denying your purpose, or you're trying to make it somebody doing what other people are doing who are on a similar path, and in doing so, you miss the point of your own path. And that's a slippery slide and creates a big mess fast. So uncertainty is who you are leads to you missing the purpose of your life. And finally, late at night on Wednesday, the moon enters Taurus. So emotionally, a time of peace and rest. Take time to chill, calm down, find moments of peace in your day, make those moments. If the weather is good, get outside and connect with Mother Nature. And appreciate the moments of silence when they happen. The shadow here is getting stuck in an emotional rut and seeking security in the prison of consistency at any cost. That getting caught in an emotional rut, I think, is the most powerful message here. And be careful of that and trying to force things to being what they're not. The moon can also be the bull in a china shop. Taurus can be a lazy bum, just getting stuck in the rut and going looking for the easy way out. The moon can, and Taurus can also be that bull in a china shop. Now, Aries is explosive anger. Moon in Taurus, if you've ever seen a bull on a full charge, this is where, to me, this is the more destructive anger, because Aries is a quick burst, whereas Taurus is slow, long burning, seething anger. Be careful with that. Thursday, Mars enters Scorpio. Have the courage to go deep and face your own deep truths and become aware of how you respond to them. This can help in your healing journey, part of it in a way. And when you face your deepest passions and things and those types of issues can help you understand more about yourself. Also pay attention how you respond to others' statements about your beliefs. Pay attention, listening to others. How are other people perceiving you can be helpful. But this is having the courage to go deep into your own belief systems. Go deep, pull back the curtain. Toto and the Wizard of Oz. Don't pull back. Don't look behind that curtain. You know what? I'm going to pull it back. Hi. It's that courage to pull back the curtain, to go deep and to look in deeply into yourself. The shadow here is falling into fear and creating a persona, creating a personal war based on your own self-righteous beliefs. Your beliefs can be wielded as weapons and bring great injury to yourself and others. Mars and Mars in Scorpio can be deeply wounding. And yes, Mars will be conjunct Mercury. Yikes. Wait till I get to that next week. And the Sun in Libra is sextiling the South Node in Libra and Leo. And again, I want to find something that's actually gonna. There we go. There we go. I think that's better. Sun in Libra, sextiling. Sextile creates an interest. So we're creating this interest. The Sun in Libra, you're dealing with uncertainty, but you're creating an awareness of how you hold yourself back with pointless drama. South Node is how you hold yourself back. So you always look at the shadow of the sign it's in. The shadow of Libra is childish egocentricity, pointless drama. Whether you're over the top or trying to hide away, don't look at me. So it's raising that awareness. And being able to see yourself in these different perspectives can help to create, help you see how that holds you back in life, and becoming conscious of these old patterns can help you form a more accurate self-image. So you're learning to see yourself here from a different perspective, and the perspective is how you hold yourself back with pointless drama. And when you couple that with the North Node in Aquarius, okay, I see how I hold myself with pointless drama. Now, how can I become more of my authentic self? How is that helping you say, hey, this Leo, this childish crap down here is not who I am. This up here is who I am here to become. So how is being aware of this helping you move towards this direction of becoming more authentic? So you're being able to see yourself from different perspectives, weigh it out, and take action. The shadow of here being indecisive and slipping back into those old patterns. And that pulls you out of balance, pulls you away from being authentic, and you become more of who you are not. Friday, Venus in Virgo squaring Pluto in Capricorn, improving your skills in relationships, creativity, also having the ability and knowing when to take a break. That's one of the things I was digging into Venus. Like, yeah, transiting Venus is about taking a break and also having fun. How is that strengthening your ability to transform and do that deep work of healing? How is working with others helping you? How is being creative or having fun helping you to heal? How is sitting back and taking a break? Sometimes you just need a day off. How can that help? How is that? Take a day off and just letting the world go and letting the concerns go for a day, or just leaving them, letting those concerns go for a day. How can that be deeply healing? And how can that strengthen you? So taking time to rest can help with the recovery of what has been considered lost. Also, see how relationships can strengthen your ability to face and heal old wounds. Now, the shadow here, Venus can be slick and manipulative and holding itself up or others up to unrealistic expectations. And how does that create a crushing burden that leads to deeper wounding, feelings of loneliness, and isolation? And also being caught in the dark. Yes. Saturday, the moon enters Gemini. Hey, it's the weekend. Time to be curious. Get out, go out, and explore. Fall festivals would be cool. Barring that, look at the house that this is in and explore that too. So open up to the opportunities, let curiosity reign, let go of old knowledge and follow what piques your interest. What's got you curious? What's got you going? Now, the shadow here, shutting yourself down emotionally to new insights, getting distracted. Miscommunication can lead to great misunderstanding, emotional outbursts, and big mess. And also on Saturday, Mercury goes station retrograde in Scorpio. It takes a break. If I am right, this has a strong possibility of going back into Libra, but for now I'm going to focus on Scorpio. So take a moment here and reflect on what you're learning about honest communication, how it can be healing. And what about your deepest interests? And are you paying attention to your deeper self? This can also be, are you taking the time to explore what we call the taboo topics? Things like the occult, which occult just means what is hidden, hidden knowledge. Why it's hidden, I don't know. Um, get into the conspiracy theories for that. But are you doing that? Are you exploring your deeper curiosities? Why or why not? What can you do to help you get more to dig deeper into these things, to pull back that curtain? Because the shadow here is hurting yourself with truths that you can be rushing in too fast, or not wanting to run in as well. And run, it can be not wanting to go in as at all and denying your truths, or rushing in too deeply and taking on truths you're not ready to handle. Either one of those are deeply wounding and something you may not be ready or willing or wanting to accept, and how that hurts you and damages you. And on Sunday, no new transits. We're just dealing with what's up in the sky. So do take a breath. Remember to exhale, repeat. And that is our week. Thank you very much. Do follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. You're watching this. You found me on YouTube. I am looking for other platforms to post it on. Um, these three here are making tons of money off your, whoops, gosh. These three here are making tons of money off of your data. Digital Soul Space is hosted on the Mighty Networks, and with them, you control your data. They keep it anonymous, but you decide whether different advertisers can have access to it, and if your identity is going to be with it or not. It's very privacy focused. It's a great site. It's a free version and a paid version. Yeah, these ones are free, but you're paying for it with your data, and they're making billions off of it. Digital Soul Space, $2 a month. That's the price of one cup of coffee. And it's a bully-free zone. We got 4 great moderators that do a great job of keeping the site. I don't remember the last time a person got taken off, honestly. But they do a great a great job of keeping a bully-free zone. We're doing 33 days of gratitude. Yeah, at the end of every day, before you go to bed, what are you grateful for? That's our 33. We're doing that for 33 days. And when you appreciate more things, just a side note here, when you appreciate even the little things, more things come your way. But I do astrology on there. There are other astrologers, but there are people who do crystals, tarot, oracle decks, a wide variety of spiritual practices. I know the people who practice Wicca, the Nordic religions, indigenous faiths. I think we have a Buddhist or somebody who practices Hinduism on there, Gnostic Christianity, all sorts of different belief systems. You got a question, ask. People will share what they know. Awesome. Yeah, there's a free version, there's a paid version. Free version gets you limited access, paid version gets you access to every single board. It's an awesome place. Hold on, close that out. Next, I do readings and I have packages. If you want to see how your chart changes, I do a quick 6 reading. If you want to know your purpose in life, or hold on a second, stumbling. Quick 6 gives you 6 quick points off your chart to help you see a core picture of how your chart would change. Your birth chart is your birth contract. It's not who you are, it's who you came here to become. Stephen Covey says, begin with the end in mind. In evolutionary astrology, that's your birth chart. I help you understand who you came here to become. Karmic lesson or a past life reading, depending on which you are. If you believe in past life, you came here to heal a karmic wound. I help you understand what that wound is, how it was created, how it shows up in this lifetime, and then how the steps you can take to heal it. If you're a one and done, this is a special lesson you came here to learn. And then the horoscopes. I do a 1 year, which is any 12 months in a row, 3 months, a quarterly, which is any 3 months in a row, or 1 month, which can be the first of the month to the last of the month, or it can be new moon to new moon, whichever you prefer. And this is the journey of how you get to your birth chart and how you become. So the birth chart is who you came here to become. The horoscope is how you get there. And I do offer packages that combine these readings in different levels. So like, follow, share, sign up for the newsletter. You go to my website, freedomthroughastrology.com, and you'll get a pop-up. All I need is an email. You get once a week newsletter, and I give you an overview and all this information and a few things more ahead of everyone else. Also, if I do any discounts or promotions, that's where you're going to find them. That's where I give them. So thank you very much. Have the best week possible. Like, follow, share, and remember, in the visible sky, your life changes. Have a great week, everyone. Thank you very much.